What's going on, Falcon fan? This is what we're gonna do. Coming back at you with another video. And today, guys, it is another victory Monday for our Atlanta Falcons. Hey, once again, I came on yesterday and I did a recap of what I thought I saw at the game. When I'm at the game, I'm not really, analyzing the game so much of being a fan because, you know, I'm a fan first, of course. So I probably be more critical of the team or every play, be on my heels on every play, every down, criticizing everything, the coach, the players, everything like that. So at the game, I'm more of a fan, and that's why I like to after I get home from the game, I actually like to go back and look at the game, and then I analyze it from that standpoint, and I can give you what I really felt, what I saw from the game, and how I think the Atlanta Falcons are progressing from week one to week two, so on and so forth through the rest of the season, and what I think that they some things they definitely need to work on and things like that, but I'm definitely going to give you what I seen. I actually watched the game um, again, you know, and I went through it every play, every down to see, what I saw at the game. Was it what I expected? And I can honestly say, what I seen at the game, it wasn't. I should have been, a little less critical than I was at the game and being a fan, but that just how it is. It just that's how it goes sometimes. So sometimes you're really critical on certain things, certain plays, and things like that. And so that's why you have to come in, take a away from the game. Just like the coaches, they ask them, right at the press conference, the players and things like that, what really happened. Well, I got to go back and look at the film because I really don't know what happened. I don't know who missed the block, or did the defense just blow up the play like they because they got good players too. So you don't know, did you make the right play call or did they just blow up the play and something like that. So that's what you have to have to discern. That's why you go back and look at film. That's like from one week to the next week, those guys get better from that because they go look at film, they correct their mistakes, they see what they did wrong, and they see how people are trying to play them, right? So that's how it's going to be. Once the Atlanta Falcons, this version of Atlanta Falcons, get more film on out there, especially with a guy like Bijan Robinson, they're going to make adjustments and stuff. Then the Falcons going to have to make adjustments. That's what it boils down to. I did like what I seen from the Atlanta Falcons from the adjustments, the in-game adjustments that they made, from just coming out from what they did from the halftime and coming into the second half of the game. So we'll definitely get to that today. I want to talk about Desmond Ritter again. I'm not going to get on my soapbox like I did last time and talk about him because I was really critical of him yesterday. I actually said at one point yesterday I miss Matt Ryan. So that's how upset I was about some of the plays that Desmond Ritter made yesterday. But like I said, after going back and watch the game, I'll give you my real opinion of what I think, what I really think about our young quarterback, and what I think about this Falcon team, going into week three with these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like hear that I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about, yep, these Atlanta Falcons. So real quick, we're going to get into, like I said, my first topic today, and that is Desmond Ritter, right? So like I said, I did go back and I watched the game in its entirety once again, and I can honestly say that Desmond Ritter did not play as bad as I first thought, right? Um, yes, let's just go ahead and get out of the way. He made some dumb rookie mistakes in that game. Some passes, I think, two interceptions hit the defender's hand that they dropped. That first drive in the red zone where we was down there, we had first and we had like 6 plays to get in. Um, I think what happened on those plays, um, his read got blown up, and then he should probably just threw the ball out of bounds. And young quarterbacks have to learn that sometimes they want to make plays and try to make something happen. But if the play is called and it's not there, don't go sandlot and try to make something happen. And I think that's what he did. Because he threw the ball, in my opinion, in that possession, that drive, he put it in the harm's way a couple of times, and I thought that was not really a good idea by Desmond Ritter. But overall, looking at the way Desmond Ritter played yesterday, um, he looked like a rookie at some times of the game. But the biggest thing that I've seen from Desmond Ritter is in the big moments of the game, key moments of the game, like going into halftime, for an example. That was a 2 minute drive. We had 3 minutes left when we got the ball back, and we needed points to put points on the board. That was a key point in the game, right? We was trying to double them up. We was going to get the ball back at halftime. So we go down, we punch it in for a touchdown, and then we get it back in the beginning of the third quarter. And at that moment, I thought Desmond Ritter operated the offense really, really good to get us down and get for a score. Young Wei Koo missed the time field goal, the extra point, but that was a big drive in the game, right? And if you go back and look at how we had played, past that first drive that we had in the first quarter and majority of that second quarter, that was a big drive for Desmond Ritter, and I thought he settled down a lot. You know, during that point, that was a big point in the game. Now coming out at halftime, yeah, we went 3-and-out that first drive, so it didn't start off like we wanted it to, and then it kind of snowballed for us in that whole entire third quarter, right? It really did. So you know, it seems like with Atlanta Falcons, we talked about it last week. Kind of get out of the preseason mode, getting started to get rhythm. I thought Desmond Ritter really found his rhythm yesterday. Started with that second quarter drive, going into the halftime, and then in that fourth quarter where Desmond Ritter really, really started to play football, and it looked like he actually had command of the offense. Um, and if you look at Arthur Smith offense in itself, if you look at all the motions and all the movement and all the things that Desmond Ritter has to make sure that all his players are aligned right and things like that, it's a big operation. I know that's not saying a lot, but when you look at it, and if you take a look at how many motions and things that Desmond Ritter is directing, right, and he's getting up to the line and he's doing the checks and things like that, right? He's in control of the offense. So that is promising from a guy that's been in the played 6 games, 6 starts in this league. That's what I really like about what I've seen from Desmond Ritter. But that fourth quarter is where it really starts to click for him. He made huge throws in that quarter. Um, Actually, he made some great throws. I know he hit had a great throw that he hit Johnu Smith was really really good. He had a good throw to Drake London. I know everybody know that throw he had to Drake London. The trick play to Mac Hollins, that was huge. He had a lot of great plays, and then the biggest thing I think what Desmond Ritter did that really helped us out a lot was he utilized his legs more than anything, and that's what you really gotta love, the way Desmond Ritter utilized his legs to get first downs, to extend plays. Now I thought, watching the game in the stadium, I thought he had more opportunities to pick up yards and things like that. But once again, going back and looking at it on the game film, I think he kind of made the right calls on most of all his scramble plays, throwing it out of bounds, getting rid of the ball, trying to check it down to one of his receivers and things like that. So for the most part, guys, what I'm going to conclude from what I've seen from Desmond Ritter is that he's still young, right? It's just his sixth start in this league, and we have to be patient. We're gonna have to realize that he's gonna make some decisions to remind you he hasn't seen a lot of different defenses, right? You got to think about it. He haven't seen that many defenses yet, so he's going to make these mistakes. It's only 6 games. If you want to put a correlation, I think Miles Garrett put out a thing that in Matt Ryan's first 6 games he was 4-2, just like Desmond Ritter. Um, I think he had 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So it's a growing curve. I know we all want, we like this team. We want to see this team, play well and get to the playoffs. But at the same time, we're gonna have to deal with the ebb and flows of our young quarterback because it's just gonna happen. I mean, it's you have to look at it in its entirety and kind of take back what we want to see and what's reality. And the reality is that Desmond Ritter only has played 6 games in the NFL, and we have to hold him to a high standard, but we do have to understand that he's going to make some plays that's going to just make us mad as hell because um, he put the ball in harm's way yesterday. Luckily, it did not cost us the game because of some of those bonehead throws that he made. But at the same time, you saw flashes where he was able to command. He made big throws and needed it. And down the stretch, when Atlanta Falcons needed to come back, um, 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, right? So you really gotta love what you're seeing for Desmond Ritter. Um, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because I know a lot of people, was really critical of him. Um, but he's only been in the league 6 years. I mean, I keep saying 6 years. Only been in the league and played 6 starts in the NFL. So we're gonna get what we should expect from him, right? I mean, if you look at some of the other young quarterbacks in the league today, especially the ones that everybody has so much high regard for because they were drafted so high, um, they're going through the same growing pains, right? Um, I would suggest that Justin Fields the light should have been on came on for him by now, but he still is having issues. He's still struggling. It seems that they have not created an identity for Justin Fields. Last year, you thought they found it. Him rushing so many yards, utilize his legs. You would think that would be more into what they would want to do with Justin Field this year, but it seems like they have reverted, trying to make him a pocket passer, and that's not his strength. So, it's always good to go to a team in a situation where you can develop and grow. I think Desmond Ritter is in a good situation. The teams believe in him, the coaches believe in him, and they're willing to live through some of his mistakes that he makes, and he's gonna make them. We seen it yesterday. We just got to understand that 6 starts, that's what it is in the league. Um, so it's going to be a lot of growing pains. The best thing I can say until yesterday, he had been, protecting the ball pretty well. Hopefully that don't start to become, a habit, contagious things that continuous happens, every week that he started to put the ball in harm's way, because defense is going to disguise. They're going to make it look different, from pre-snap to post-snap, and he has to understand that. And if Desmond Ritter can start understanding that, I think that in the long run, he's going to be better. But we got to give him time. Like I said yesterday, I was really critical. Went back and watched the game, and overall, he actually played pretty well. I mean, if you look at his stats yesterday, 19 for 32, 237 yards, one TD, one interception. About a 73% quarterback rating. Not that bad. You really need to work on his completion percentages, but a lot of those were throwaways and things like that. So you had to take that into account. But the biggest thing that I liked about Desmond Ritter is the big moments. He is a gamer, right? When the ball is on the line, the game is on the line. It seems like he plays better, and we have seen that out of these 6 games. Every time, it get down time to crunch time, big critical throws on third down, fourth downs. We seen it last year in the New Orleans game when he made a big throw. We seen it in the Ravens game, right? His 2 wins, he made big critical throws here back in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So um, it does seem like Desmond Ritter is a gamer, and that's what we definitely gonna have to take from it. But what I really want to say is that at the end of the day, only 6 starts, so he's gonna make mistakes. It just we might as well get ready for it, right? We might as well just realize that in instances where you have a young quarterback, and when defense started to disguise things, um, they're gonna mess around and and do something that just going to drive us crazy. And that's just where it is. Hopefully, Arthur Smith can keep put him in positions and plays to make the right decisions with the ball. And in that fourth quarter, I thought he did that. And then going into halftime, definitely, I thought he made all the plays he needed to make, to keep us in that game. So, guys, that's all I have on Desmond Ritter. Definitely now we're going to get into the offense as a whole, not just Desmond Ritter. We're going to talk about the offense as a whole, what we thought about the offense, and what I think that the offense can be moving forward, and what I thought about the offense yesterday. Right here, EQ says, okay, he had some bad throws and only one bit us, but let's hope he learned from it. Yep, exactly. I mean, that at the end of the day, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, he had more than one bad throw. Let's get it right. He had about like 3 or 4 bad throws, all right, but only one bit us. And then on that one, the one that got picked off, he actually got hit on that play. So maybe we can't. I think that's one list that we might don't even have to blame him for. The other ones, in the other cases where he threw the ball right to the defenders, those are the ones that make you like, whoa. I mean, even you look what Jordan Love did it, throw the ball right to AJ Terrell right there. So it happens. Young quarterback's going to make those mistakes, guys, because you know and you know what happens because it's a predetermined before you hike the ball. I'm going to my guy because we need this first down, right? In both cases, Jordan Love and Desmond Ritter, it was a third down play. They was trying to go to their guy, and the cornerback sat on the route because it was where the first down marker was. So in both cases, the quarterback was already predetermined to go to that player, and the cornerback sat on the play. So that's what happens, right? Jair Alexander almost got him a pick six, and guess what? AJ Terrell almost returned the favor to Jordan Love, pretty much on the same similar kind of play. So you're right, he had some bad throws, but we're gonna have to live or die with it until he learn to settle down, calm down, and maybe if Arthur Smith starts to speed up the tempo of the offense, like when we get into like the 2-minute drill, because I think he actually have make him think less and things like that. What's up, Jay Black? Um, Make him think less. I think he plays better. I really do. So that's what I think about Desmond Ritter. All right, let's get into this offense, right? So the offense overall for the Atlanta Falcons um, was pretty dominant yesterday. 446 yards, 235 yards passing, 211 yards rushing, right? 27 first downs. Um, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. One turnover, of course. We remember that turnover. That didn't cost up any points, right? No points off turnover for them. So that turnover was definitely a wash for this Atlanta Falcons team. But if you go look at what the Atlanta Falcons did from an offensive standpoint yesterday, and I just talked about Desmond Ritter and all the mistakes he made, our offense still was dominant yesterday. 446 total yards. That's almost 500 yards, and we kept the ball for over 36 minutes. So that's really good for the Atlanta Falcons offense, right? And Jay Black says here, Ricondo, do you think they will move Horn up from the practice squad to help keep the run defense? Yeah, that's a good question. Because we are playing a good offensive line in the Detroit Lions, and they might because every week they been elevating guys up from the practice squad. Definitely see that this week because of the matchup. So we just have to wait to. I think that they make that decision on Friday or Saturday morning. When they decide who they decide to elevate to the practice up to the 53-man roster. So we definitely have to wait that long. But that's a good point. I agree that they definitely something that they might consider to do. Um, considering we playing one of the best offensive lines in the game with the Detroit Lions. But when I talk about our offense, guys, it was pretty dominant. It didn't seem like it, right? Because we didn't put any points in the red zone, right? Right now in the red zone, for the season, just 2 games, we at 62%. So I tell you, if we can be at 62%, you want to be better than that, right? But 62% in the red zone is really it's decent. It's decent. You probably want to be a little higher, but if you can get touchdown in the red zone, um, you know, and have an average a little bit higher than that for the season, I think the Atlanta Falcons would be happy with that, right? So right now, 62%. We kicked 4 field goals yesterday. That's not, what we want to do. It was enough to get the win, but we got to start definitely, putting the ball in the red zone, especially if we get the ball at the 1 yard line. It's no excuse for the Atlanta Falcons not to get a touchdown when they're at the 1 yard line when they got 6 plays. That was really embarrassing for the Atlanta Falcons. So that's one of the things that we definitely got to be looking at and um they need to be working on. Ricardo, it seems that if we attempt to force the ball to Pitts, we end up in trouble. You know, I'm see Jay Black, you're reading my mind, man. You're reading my mind because that's one of the things I want to talk about. Like I just talked about how dominant this offense was. Um, but the biggest issue, and I'm not going to keep harping on this. We Arthur Smith has to find a way to get Kyle Pitts involved into this offense. All right. I just think it'll make it more explosive. Right. I agree. It's not a point that they need to force it to him. Right. And I know he called plays and Kyle Pitts is the first read and things like that. And that's for a reason why it's so difficult to get him the ball because they probably come in the game saying they want to take Kyle Pitts out the game, right? So that's why we have to see how this this offense um transform throughout the season because right now Bijan Robinson is kind of wrecking defenses, right? And one reason because they don't really know they don't know how Arthur Smith is going to use Bijan Robinson, so he's all over the field. I think Torrey McIlhenny said he's got like 30 something percent of the Atlanta Falcon touches. Um, for this team, which is a big percentage of offense going to Bijan Robinson. Now, I like that. I like the way. One thing though, we don't want to tire him down. We got 17 games to go. We got so many different weapons, so we don't want to overutilize Bijan, even though he is so dynamic. Don't get me wrong, he is, but we got so many other weapons, and we got to be able to distribute the ball around to get all these guys involved because the more you get the balls in the hands of different receivers and things like that, the tougher it is for the defense to scheme to figure out how to stop you, right? But I love the way Desmond distributed the ball yesterday. I think everybody got a touch almost, right? Tyler got a touch. Mac Hollins, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, um, Bijan, right? All those guys got to touch the ball. Desmond Ritter utilized his legs, right? So the offense was humming a little bit yesterday, even though it didn't look like it, like I said, because we didn't put up 25 points. But you know, we was marching down the field, and we always already know that it's going to be a lot of plays because Arthur Smith is going to run the ball, right? He's going to control the clock. That's his staple. That's what he's been doing since he's been here. That's something he loves to do, and it limits the other team on the other side of having possessions, right? Because now those possessions for your opposing team, they all critical because they don't know when the next time they're gonna touch the ball again. So they start pressing as well. That's why controlling the clock, running the ball is so good for Arthur Smith. But the biggest issue that I seen, that the Atlanta Falcons got to work on, in the next, coming this week and moving forward, is to make the offense even more dynamic. And how you can do that is, like I said, involving Kyle Pitts and more into the game. 2 receptions yesterday is not enough. We got to start to figure out how to get Kyle Pitts involved. One of my keys was last week was to get Drake London and Kyle Pitts involved. Drake got involved. We liked the way Drake London looked going up against that number one corner and Jair Alexander. Right, he pretty much did what he wanted to do with that frame, that big body. Looked like Jair was getting a little frustrated because Drake would kind of manhandle him out there. But Kyle Pitts, guys, it's kind of getting, and I know we're winning, so I don't want to put wound in the salt in the wound or anything like that. But the problem is that you know he has to feel like he's contributing, and I know he's not a selfish guy or anything like that, but he's too dynamic not to be involved into the game plan. London is here. London was usually their number one cornerback. I just said that kid thought he would be open. Yeah, man. Yeah, London. He just too big, man, and he physical. He loves it too. He loves to 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 punk DBs. He really do. It just seems like it, and Jair Alexander got welcome to Atlanta, right? That's what he got from Drake London yesterday. Yeah, but like I said, guys, from an offensive standpoint, that's really my only big concern. I'm definitely ready to see when CP comes back. I think him and getting involved is even going to be even more dynamic for this team. But my biggest concern is just to get Kyle Pitts. I just think he's such a great player that doesn't get enough. And you don't want to have the narratives like why Arthur Smith drafted a guy number 4 overall and he's not getting the ball and things like that. It has nothing to do with fantasy numbers and things like that. Of course, we got the win, but what you want to see um, is Kyle Pitts get involved because it'll just make the offense that more explosive. That's what I'm trying to say. That's right. Welcome to Atlanta. Exactly right. Exactly right. But only other thing I had to say about our offense is, man, Bijan Robinson is as advertised. He's everything that I seen on tape at Texas. What I thought could translate into the NFL. He's all that. Um, he already got memes out there of guys. He's going to hurt some guys ACLs and ankles and things out there. He's already doing it. I mean, I can't count how many plays guys penetrated in the backfield and he made one or two guys miss and picked up positive yards on you know on run plays. You can't teach that. That's just something um, that, like he said, God given, and he's taking advantage of it, man. He it's almost like when he touched the ball, you expect him to make some kind of spectacular play at this point, right? And there's only 2 games in. Like I said, we do need to not put so much pressure on him to be the guy that always has to deliver, which he has done so far. But you know, um, he's everything is advertised, man. And and what can we say less? But that's why it's so much more frustrating about Kyle Pitts because I believe he is just that way as well. He is that much. He's we've seen it his first year. If we hadn't seen what Kyle Pitts is capable of in his first season with the Atlanta Falcons, I wouldn't be saying this. But we know how dynamic he can be. He can wreck the game as well. So and I know that Arthur Smith is trying, but just like J-Back said, we don't want to force the ball to Kyle Pitts. That's not something we want to do. In trouble with that, but at the same time, if you can get all 3 of those guys going in one game, let's just imagine how explosive this offense can be. If you just get Bijan, Drake, and Kyle going in the same game, just imagine that, right? And then you sprinkle a little Tyler Algier in there, sprinkle a little Mac Hollins, a little John O. Smith, right? I mean, you can have a situation where you know the defense don't know where to go. They don't know what play to call because they don't know who you're gonna go to next. I mean, it could really be a special thing to watch, and it's only the second game of the season. So not saying that it can't happen, but the weapons are there. You said beast. Yeah, he a beast, man. It's man, it's something beautiful to watch, right? It really is. I want when I'm just waiting for him to break one though, because he's so close. He's so close. I don't know how many runs he had yesterday where he was almost about to break it, and I can see eventually it's going to happen. I can't wait till it happens too. Um, I'm watching the game Carolina versus New Orleans. I hope the Panthers win. Will help us. Yeah, I just hope the Panthers win because I hate the Saints. You know. Also, guys, believe it or not, the Atlanta Falcons are actually on NFL Network. They replaying the game on NFL Network right now between the Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons. So, well, the channel I'm watching right now could be different depending on where you're located at, but um, that's already another game out there. Also, like you said, the New Orleans Saints are playing the Carolina Panthers right now, so we will see. Pitts is dynamic, but I think he should not be the first read. Treat him like a tight end because he is double team. Pitts should be second or third read to give Pitts time to get open down the field. That's a good point. That's a good point. But I think what's happening is that their game plan is to try to take Pitts out the game anyway. That's why the ball finds other guys, and I mean we're winning, so I'm not gonna get too upset about it. But I just want Pitts to be able to show what he could do. That's really what it's all about. Yes, one day a team is going to try to crash and run, and our wide receivers. Yep. And see, this is the crazy part about it. They tried to stop the run yesterday. They just couldn't. That's how dynamic our run game is. They actually tried to stop the run, and so they can try. But to your point, when those linebackers start to come downhill and we do that play action pass, that open up our passing game, right? That's how you get big plays. So um, we have to make sure we establish the run early, establish it fast, and then we'll get our guys on the one-on-one matchups that we want. Um, what's good, Bob? What's going on, Crunk Lit Fresh? So, guys, overall, like I said yesterday, based on the numbers, our offense, kind of dominated that game. 466 yards, 36 minutes of time possession, 27 first downs. Um, Pretty good game for the Atlanta Falcons, right? So it's really nothing much more I can say about that. That was really a really awesome game that Atlanta Falcons had, and you gotta love it from an offensive standpoint. Even with all the mistakes that Desmond Ritter made, not getting Kyle Pitts involved, they still was the dominant. So, like I said, just imagine when they can start to get everybody involved. It's really going to be something special to watch. And it's going to take time. We still got a young quarterback, and but trust me, we're going to play one defense that's not really that good because the last two defenses we played been two pretty good defenses. I'm just gonna say that. Carolina defense is really good, and the Green Bay Packers defense is really good. So, and I hate to say it, the Lions defense is a little bit better than it was last year. Now, that passing defense really was bad last year, but they brought in some guys to kind of fix that. Brought in a couple of cornerbacks. They brought in their safety. So, we'll talk about the Detroit Lions on Wednesday. But I don't know when we're gonna get a break with playing good defensive fronts. And so, while we're playing these teams, you know, developing our rhythm and things like that, stacking wins. That's what you like to see. So That's our offense in a nutshell, guys, from yesterday. Let's talk about that defense, right? Um, Definitely be the last thing I talk about today. But from a defensive standpoint, um, I think the biggest issues for our defense is really um, just don't give up the explosive plays. And yesterday the explosive plays really came in penalties, right? I know it doesn't. It's not a catch, officially, but two 40-yard pass interference penalties is really what helped the Packers. I know set up one of their scores. Um, the first one they came away with nothing, right? The one that AJ Terrell got at the beginning of the game, they actually came away with nothing in that drive. However, the Atlanta Falcons can't give up explosive plays. That's one of the things that we definitely don't want to see. Jordan Love got out one time and got a big scramble, in the run game. But if you look at how many rushing yards they had overall, it was 84 rushing yards. I thought the defense played really good football yesterday. Um, and we talked about offense going into that fourth quarter, right? Going into that fourth quarter where we were down 12 points, right? One stat that is really, really, really something special, to hear about is that the fact that the Green Bay Packers only had 11 yards in the fourth quarter. So just put that in perspective. The Green Bay Packers only had 11 yards in the fourth quarter. That's the reason the Atlanta Falcons won the game. So now we're talking about complementary football, right? Because the reason our offense was able to march down the field and get the ball back because our defense was able to hold the guys to 11 yards total in the fourth quarter. Now that is something special. And of course, everybody going to say they didn't have their starting, guard. They didn't have their starting running back. They missing their number one receiver, right? That's the asterisk. Everybody want to put it's the NFL, guys. Everybody pros, everybody get injured. That's just the way it is, right? That it happens. But at the end of the day, our defense stood up, and for the second consecutive week, our defense was on the field to end the game, right? Now, of course, it was turnover and downs. Our quarterback kneeled, but consecutive weeks in a row, our defense was on the field and they ended the game. How many times have seen where the Atlanta Falcons defense was on the field and think about yesterday, they only needed a field goal to win the game. And the Atlanta Falcons went four straight plays and they didn't get a yard, right? You have to like what you're seeing from this defense. By no means is perfect. We're going to start to play tougher offenses, right? We played two young quarterbacks so far, right? This week coming up, Jared Goff, number one overall draft pick, took a team to the Super Bowl, has experience. It's going to be tougher. I can promise you that, right? We're going to see with this defense on the road, first time going on the road this season, right? We're going to see a lot of things. We're going to find out a lot about this Atlanta Falcon team this week because we're going on the road. Good offensive line. Um, like I said, veteran quarterback. So we're going to find out a lot about this defense, right? That's what we're going to find out. But you can't overlook the fact that our defense, that complementary football, yes, the offense has to go down and score those 13 points in the fourth quarter to get that 1 point lead. But the fact that our defense was able to hold the Green Bay Packers for only having 11 yards in the fourth quarter is what really helped the Atlanta Falcons win the game, right? That's a team, that's complementary football, and that's what we've been talking about all off season. What it do, Victory Monday? You are 100% correct. Trey Flowers not good in man coverage. You are also 100% correct, which going to bring me to my next topic when I was talking about the defense is that the fact that let's pray that Jeff Okuda um, is going to be back this week, right? We know he did practice last week, but they decided to make him active for the game, to hope he ramp back up. But let's hope Jeff Okuda actually get out there because I believe the defense that the Atlanta Falcons really want to play They want to have their two outside corners play man coverage, right? Um, Two things that Jeff Okuda and AJ Terrell is really good in, right? They have the speed, they have the technique, and if they're able to play that man coverage on the outside, Trey Flowers is really good, playing bigger body on receivers, bigger body tight ends, things like that. That's where he excels at. You're 100% correct. He is not good at man coverage, and if they want to play that kind of defense, um, they do not need to play it with Trey Flowers. That is 100% um, not what we want to see. Yes, 11 yards. That's huge. That's huge. Think about it. And then I mean, if you go back and look at how explosive that Green Bay Packers offense was last week, and they only got 11 yards, that just tells you, you know, you can see the potential in this Atlanta Falcons team. Now, one thing that we got to kind of correct, because we only got 2 sacks on the season. I don't like that, right? We already talked about we were trying to improve our sacks. I already said we was going to have over 40 sacks this year. But right now we got to pick up the game a little bit more in that category, right? But because we got to be able to to get to the quarterback. Now I think we've been getting the quarterback off his spot, which is really important when you get pressures and things like that. But we want to be able to get him on the ground, because sacks cause sack fumbles, things like that, lost a yard. So we want to be able to start getting more sacks. Only 2 sacks on the season is not going to cut it. So we got to be able to do better than that. Um, and the only reason it's two is technically really 3 sacks, but Grady and Troy Anderson got a half a sack. Lorenzo Carter got one, then of course Kate Ellis got one yesterday. So that's why I'm saying two, but it's really like 3 sacks. And we gotta do better than that. We really do, guys. Um, okay, who is the season has defense that can stop our run after the quarterback and wide receiver get together? We'll be able to. Whew, that's a great right now, man. That the only thing I can say that Dallas Cowboys defense. But we don't know, because I don't think Dallas played a really good solid team yet. I think they just blitzed the New York Giants, and then they played the Jets, with Zach Wilson. Um, and plus the Jets decided not to run the ball against the Cowboys, which you know the week prior, Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook had a field day on the Buffalo Bills defense, but then the Jets decided not to run the ball. Doesn't make sense at all. But um, right now, defense that can stop us, maybe the Cowboys defense. That hater Dan Quinn. Now he want to get a good defense and make him play well. You know, right here, he said the Cowboys, San Francisco. Hey, I know Nick Bosa didn't play last year, but you saw we did to San Francisco, so I don't know by San Francisco. So, uh, yeah, we got 3 sacks on the season, so we got to do better than that. We got to get that up. Even though we 2-0, we got to pick up in the sacks category. So hopefully we can do that. Um, Definitely, that's what we want to see. You know, but overall, guys, from a defensive standpoint, I thought the Atlanta Falcons um, has been doing really good in these first 2 games. Right. Um, Now, granted, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and what I mean by that, if you're playing young quarterbacks, um, and you got veteran defense, because right now we can kind of consider ourselves a veteran defense, because we got a lot of veterans on the defense. Yes, it's a new defense, but a lot of veterans. We got all pro safety in the back, 2 all pro defensive ends, um, all pro cornerback on one side, a number 3 overall pick cornerback on the other side once he gets back. So from a defensive standpoint, yes, we got veterans. So what we supposed to do what we did these first 2 weeks. Young quarterbacks, confuse them, make it hard for them, you know. But once you start playing these veteran quarterbacks, we got a couple coming up. Like I said, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousin, another guy. That's really been light up the scoreboard, as we've seen throughout. Derek Carr is another one when we play the Aints. Um, so we got a couple of quarterbacks, that's seasoned a little bit that could give us a little bit more but trouble. But when we play these young quarterbacks, that hasn't seen a lot of football and don't know how to read defenses, we can take advantage of that, and that's what we should be doing. So from a defensive standpoint, I really love what the Falcons have been doing. The biggest thing for me, don't get over explosive plays. We can eliminate the explosive plays, make them drive the distance. I think our defense can make the stops that we need. Um, I also felt like Matt LaFleur schemed up good plays yesterday to get some of his guys open, right? Like I said, and I think they started to pick on Trey Flowers a little bit in some of those matchups. So they was hunting Trey Flowers. You see the one time they went AJ Terrell, he almost had a pick six. So, but I believe that Trey Flowers is not a bad player. I just think the way what they ask him to do is not conducive for him to play his best game. So, um, like I said, hopefully Jeff Okuda comes back. Maybe they need to put Mike Hughes out there or Clark Phillips. We haven't seen Clark Phillips either. Another guy that played a lot of ball in Utah. I know he's smaller in stature, but he's a dog, man. And you know we can't let you know a big plays wreck the game, right? We want to make those guys drive the long haul. We are finishing game from the last season to this season. Yes, we are finishing game. That is 100% correct. Last year, I think we was in 15 games, 15 one-score games last year. We only had 7 wins. So we was there last year. We had opportunities to win a lot of games last year. We just couldn't make it happen because, to your point, couldn't finish games. Now, Calais Campbell, he mentioned that, right? Just one of the reasons he came because he watched the teams and he watched how close this team was, and he was like, they were right there, right? And now, what you mean by right there, we're starting to make those plays necessary, to finish games, right? Desmond Ritter already got his second, game winning, career comeback of his career. Right? He had one last year against the Cardinals, right? And then this one here. So that's really good um, for this team. Um, they really starting to grow. It's good to grow while you're winning, right? It's really good to grow while you're winning. It feels so much better to be 2-0 than 1-1. You know, um, for 1 minute, yesterday, I thought it was over. I thought we was going to, go 1-1. Then we kind of, be forced to try to make a big play up in Detroit. But now, we need to be able to go up there feeling good by ourselves and think we can go 3-0. That should be our game plan for this week. Let's see. Never give up. That's 100% correct. Uh, our defense is keeping people under the low 20 so far. It is looking good. Yes, it is. So I'm gonna give y'all these last stats here. For our defense. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Our defense right now is our defense is tied for 12th right now, and our offense is 8th. So that's pretty good for us guys. I mean, look at where we're at right now. Only been 2 games, so can't get too high on rankings this early in the season. But you know, one of my biggest keys for this season was the running game from a defensive standpoint and holding the team to 84 yards. Yes, they was missing Aaron Jones. I know, but at the same time, that's football. If like I said, we did what we were supposed to do. You don't supposed to let a team missing their number one running back come out and run over 150 yards on you. So they did what they were supposed to do, and that's what you gotta like, right? Our offense is not it's not clicking on all cylinders right now. Let's be honest. Um, Defense have some gave up some explosive plays. Let's be honest. So we're not where we want to be. We're not even close. But being 2-0, having another victory Monday back to back is really good for us. So you gotta love it. You gotta love it, right? That's what I like to see from this Atlanta Falcon team. Um, so guys, that's it for today. Thank all you guys for coming in, talking about celebrating Victory Monday for the second week in a row for these Atlanta Falcons. Tune in Wednesday when I talk about what it's going to take to go up to Ford Field and beat those Detroit Lions, who's going to really have some blood out because they took a L on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. So it's going to be really interesting to see you know what they do, and we'll break it down. We'll talk about how we can take advantage of the other Detroit Lions, a team that everybody had high expectations for, this upcoming season. And they went to the Kansas City Chiefs and got a surprise victory up there, winning overtime with the Cincinnati Seahawks yesterday. On the last two times those teams played, they have put up a lot of yards, right? That's not what we trying to do. We don't want to go and have a shootout with the Detroit Lions, right? We want to have, if it be another physical battle like we had these first two weeks, that's okay with me. Um, we control the clock, right? Do things like that. That's what we want to try to do with the Detroit Lions. But we'll definitely get into that on Wednesday more. Um, Talk about how we can get a victory against the Detroit Lions. But guys, we're gonna take this Monday. We're gonna celebrate our victory Monday and be ready for those Detroit Lions on Sunday. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.